A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Welcome you to the first edition of the show for the week. Promises to be exciting as always. Let me give you a quick rundown of what to expect on the show tonight. Of course, the National Sports Festival takes center stage. A lot of questions demanding answers. We'll do our best to give you answers to those questions, those probing questions. We'll do our best to give you answers. We'll talk about handball on the show tonight. We'll also talk about African Nations Cup qualifiers. Today, Nigeria Super Eagles ended the AFCON qualifying campaign with a convincing 3-0 victory over the Crocodiles of Lesotho right here in Lagos at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, to be precise. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about FIFA in the news. We'll also talk about the Olympics with less than 120 days to go. What's happening with the Olympics? What's the International Olympic Committee saying about the Olympics and the unique challenges that is facing right about now? That's the outlook of the show. In between all of that, we'll try to also talk about football on the domestic scene, Sunshine Stars in the news. We'll talk about what's happening to the players of Sunshine, and of course, a swift reaction to what was in the news earlier in the day about Sunshine Stars. That's the outlook of the show tonight. And of course, we want to bring you into all that we're doing. As it is customary for us, we want to know how you feel about some of these things we've talked about. Is this something that is not getting talk time on the show? We want you to let us know. As a matter of fact, we want to feel your pulse. This is how we can do just that. We invite you to join us on the show on Twitter, Facebook, and of course, you can send us a mail. You can send us a mail. There you have it, sportstonight@channelstv.com. Of course, you can get across to us on Facebook with your comments, channels-sports. Then you can tweet at us at channels_sports. Let's keep it going on the show. As you already know, the conversation never ends. Even when the show ends, the conversation never ends on Twitter. It's all about sports, and that's what we do right here. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us on the show tonight as we try to navigate our way through all the important issues in the amazing world of sports. I'm going to have two partners on the show tonight and a special guest that you would love to listen to with regards to the National Sports Festival. Like I said, questions demanding answers. Rumors circulated earlier in the day about the sports ministry looking for alternatives. We'll talk about that. But before we do that, let me quickly introduce my partner in the Lagos studio as we go on the show. Kehinde Idris joins me this lovely Tuesday evening. Kehinde, I'm so very happy you're here.
Yeah, so happy to be here. Tuesday tonic as it stands, and also the lineup. Always looking forward to that. And some interesting. Yes, the Super Eagles would take the shock of the news, but I love handball in the mix. Probably called lesser sports in Nigeria. I love it when they get to have discussion time.
All right. So before we introduce that special guest who's already waiting, I must tell you, by the way, but let's quickly talk about handball. Get it out of the way as quickly as we can. The Handball Federation of Nigeria has confirmed that players for the future Africa and World Championships will be selected from the national championships in Lagos. The Handball Federation says it has identified the need to provide opportunities for new and younger players to compete globally through its age grade competitions. Lagos and Kwara State are setting the pace at the championship, which ends on Wednesday at the Mobolaji Johnson Sports Complex in Yaba. Let's take a quick reaction from that, and we'll come back for more on Sports Tonight.
I've seen new teams create upsets. I've seen a totally green on qualifying for the semi-finals. I've seen new talents come on board. I've seen players that I've never seen in any handball competition doing their thing here. So for me, I'm happy. I'm glad at the quality of what I'm seeing. It shows that there's future for the game of handball in Nigeria. It's actually great news for the Handball Federation of Nigeria. I never knew there were talents that were unknown that abounds across the country. But with what I've seen here, I think there's hope, and I'm happy. I've seen a lot of people who can form the crop of the future youth national team. I think that's what makes me the happiest person around today.
This is what we call catching them young from the grassroots. These 3 teams are even more. They have, done well. They are the group we are looking for. If you look at the children, they are greenhorns, and with this kind of exposure, we will get there. Team Nigeria, like the present board just came to change the situation of things, and we are going to be in Cameroon with the female team. I will not promise you, I will not tell you that Nigeria will win the African Nations Cup, because for the past 12 years, Nigeria female team has not been at the Nations Cup. But we are going to present a good team, a team to watch, a team that probably at the next Nations Cup will be looking for position. We have enjoyed the funfair I've said, and then we have some skillful and talented players we have selected. So the bane of the championship is to ensure talent hunts and then development of the handball game, and then we have been so far satisfied with the level of participation from across the country. I want to give it to the board. They have not been resting on their hours since the commencement of the board in 2017. We have had various under-age championship, then our league have been consistent.
All right, Handball Federation of Nigeria President Samuel Ocheo and a couple of stakeholders speaking about the development of handball in Nigeria. Okay, so Kennedy, it's time to address the elephant in the room. The Super Eagles are playing, but they're not the elephant in the room because it's the National Sports Festival. Yeah. A lot of people want to know what's going on. But let's just tell you officially, it's 3 days. We started a countdown on the show, so let's just let you know, just in case you don't know, 3 days to Nigeria's biggest sporting event, our own mini Olympics, and it's just 3 days to go. A lot of questions to be answered, but we'll get those answers hopefully tonight. Ken Idris, a quick one from you. How do you feel? 3 days. You've seen major sporting events in Nigeria and abroad. 3 days to go to the big one. How do you feel?
Really, mixed feeling. I'm excited because I want to see this come to fruition. I want to see it happen. But on the other side, the excitement gets a little bit taken aback, where some things are not adding up. Especially, let me take places like Lagos. I'm talking about I'm talking to the athletes, and everybody is not knowing where is next and how he's going to all pan out.
That's the story everywhere.
Exactly.
KD just talked about Lagos. What we're going to do now is allow you just take a look at the report we've put together on the preparation for the National Sports Festival in the South region. We enjoy that. We'll come back and, of course, we'll address the issues, talk about the National Sports Festival and a whole lot of things on the show.
Athletes are intensifying preparations for the 20th National Sports Festival in Benin City, Edo State.
So I started late, like going to pick somebody from ground. Break it up.
In Akwa Ibom State, these kickboxers engage in strenuous training sessions inside the closed section of the Uyo Township Stadium in the bid to retain their elite status.
Looking at the 2018 National Sports Festival in Abuja, the Akwa Ibom State kickboxing station came out first in the overall medal table for kickboxing events in Nigeria, and we're looking at going back to defend our medal standing in the Kickboxing Federation. So we are looking for the very best.
The para-athletes seem comfortable with their practice regime.
In para-athletics, they're only giving us five slots to be competed for out of 30 slots. So the athletes are going to compete, and we are expecting 4 gold medals.
One of the guidelines listed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development for participation in the festival is evidence of COVID-19 vaccination. Bayelsa State has begun vaccination of some of its athletes, and the government is optimistic that all will be vaccinated before the competition commences.
We hope every athlete will be vaccinated before then. I've had discussions with the commissioner, my colleague, the commissioner for health, and they've made their resources available to us to ensure that we vaccinate every athlete before the festival, and we're hopeful that we'll do that before we go.
Bayelsa is Nigeria's #1 in wrestling, and these wrestlers are not resting on their oars despite being African and Commonwealth champions. Delta is insisting its contingent will take the vaccine as compulsory condition for participation.
You know the conditions that have been given by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports, that every one of them must take a COVID-19 vaccination. So now they are in camp, and then the vaccination is going on. And of course, you know, some of them will break down a little bit, just light fever and slight fever and all that.
Delta State confirms its international athletes may not be a part of the Games, as most of them are already involved with preparations ahead of the Tokyo Olympics later this year.
The postponement has cost us a lot of problems, in the sense that our foreign-based athletes are not going to be able to come. They cannot participate because they are all at their build-up level preparing for the Olympics. So most of them, like likes of Blessing Okabare, Raymond, Favor, Ophili, Divine Oduduru, they cannot come. All of them are there. They can't because they are preparing for Olympics. And you know, our program right now, if you are supposed to go for the sports festival, you must be at your peak. That means you must have hit form. But right now, they are doing their build-up stage for the Olympics.
In the absence of their foreign counterparts, the athletes in sprint, discus, table tennis and combat events are still training at the designated camps.
We are really strongly prepared for the game. And as a coach, we should know, we know how to plan ourselves with the athletes and program them to give the best result when it matters most, which is the sports festival. The sports festival has been a game that has been for a while. And presently, I know we are at our best.
Athletes in the South-South region have dominated the festival, with Delta emerging champions in 2018 in Abuja.
All right, that's it. Athletes preparing for the National Sports Festival, especially the ones from the South-South region. All right, it's time to have that conversation about the National Sports Festival. And once again, on the show, we're joined by the chairman of the local organizing committee, who also doubles as the deputy governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu. He joins us on the show. Greetings to you, sir. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. I want you to set the record straight, because there are things circulating in the media, and I'll quickly like you, before we go into all the discussion, I'll quickly like you to confirm or refute. Something got into one of the daily newspapers today that the sports ministry is thinking of, is considering moving the sports festival away from Edo State to Abuja. So I just want to quickly ask you if you've heard anything like that, to either confirm or refute that before we just go on the show.
Well, somebody sent it to me on a text, and I think some of the newspapers carried it on their social media platform. And what I did was to call the Honorable Minister, and also I was able to reach the Permanent Secretary to confirm if that was just a Bush radio comment or somebody is trying to fly a kite. And the minister told me he did not authorize any press statement, and the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Youth and Sport, also confirmed he did not issue such statement. So I just want to believe it's just one of those Bush radio comments, or somebody is trying to fly a kite. And for us, it doesn't really exist. It doesn't take somebody to just wake up and say it's moving to National Sports Festival. The eve of it. Yeah. So for me, just one of those social media comments, because the Honorable Minister told me he did not authorize such statement. So I want to believe that's what has happened.
That's very good. Our minds are at peace now that you have clarified that. But let's also go to the little matter. It's not the little matter, by the way. It's a big issue. The issue about the commitment of the federal government to Edo State. And last week on the show, we weren't sure if Edo State has received the alert, like we say in local parlance. So you have the opportunity to confirm to us whether or not that has been sorted.
If you want to say, if I should answer yes or no, it's no, we've not gotten alert. But beyond saying no, that we've not gotten alert, there are efforts that are being put in place, and we are being carried along in those efforts that have been put in place by the Honorable Minister, and even the SGF has also come into the issue, the Vice President, the President, and as of this evening, I've confirmed that those that need to sign documents that will release the funds have signed. So we are all working together to make sure that these funds get to Edo State from their end. So all hands are on deck to get these funds available for the games. So as at now, no alert yet.
Okay. All right. Thanks for clearing that up as well. But let me ask you this one. Talking about preparations, it's been a mixed bag. Even my colleague in the studio has one or two stories from the state. Do you think, because we had 14 athletes that were supposed to come, now it's 8 athletes, but even the 8,000 athletes, I beg your pardon, do you think they will be able to meet the guidelines that you have set? And if they don't meet it, will they, it's a tough question to ask, but I have to. Is there any chance of the rules being bent in a way to accommodate some so that we can have a games proper?
As far as COVID-19 is concerned, that was the cause of the postponement by the Ministry of Youth and Sports and federal government. That was the reason they gave for the postponement. And if that is the reason that resulted to the postponement, the rules that we are both agreed on, that the MOC and the LOC stands. And as a responsible state that have been able to flatten the curve of the spread of COVID-19, we will not want to host a tournament that will spark, or a tournament that will be a super spreader in our state. And that is why the rules will not be, at those states and the federal ministry, and I know the PTF is very concerned about this, that I know, will not want to bend any rules. Any state that do not adhere to this will not have a visa to participate in the game. You must vaccine, all these athletes must receive their vaccine, and they must be verified, and all the athletes also must have PCR tests 72 hours minimum before they come into Edo. Any of them, any athlete, including Edo athletes, that did not make themselves available to be inoculated or for the PCR test will not be admitted into the games.
Okay.
So there is no issue of bending. It's something that even the Edo State Task Force on COVID-19 is very serious about. We have spent a lot of resources, time, energy, and we have completely inconvenienced our Edo people through all the protocol that we have to observe. Now we are seeing light after all the inconveniences we have caused Edo people in terms of the policies we have to put in place to flatten the curve. We will not want to waste all that effort.
Well, this is going to be your parting shot on the show, but it's 2 in 1. First, I want to ask, as a matter of guarantee, for those who are listening, can you say to us that the sports festival will start on Friday as it is meant to? 1. Then, in spite of all that we've had to talk about, is Edo State hosting to win? If you can just put that together for us.
Yeah, I actually want to encourage other states that are already preparing not to worry. The game we hold, as far as with the efforts I've seen from the federal government, the minister and I have been in contact touch, and the governor also, and the SGF and other top federal government officials have been working round the clock. So the efforts that we have seen from federal government this time, I can confidently say that we are sure that the alert will come, because the alert is actually a prerequisite for the game. So I am very sure this time that the alert will come. And that is why, if you observe, we have some of these, the equipment that are meant for the games. For the past 5 days, we have started installing all the games equipment. We have kept them inside caravan for over a year, and even when dates were fixed the last time, we refused to use them because we were sure that there was no serious effort from the other end. But this time we have seen greater effort, and we are seeing the minister working around the clock, and other top federal government officials are in, the SGF, all of them are in. So I can confidently say the effort we have seen so far, a lot will come, and we have already started putting everything in place. So we encourage every other state to know that the game we hold, and that is why the rumor of that the game were going to be moved was laughable, because I know what was going on in the federal government end. We are looking for a little money now. If you are moving the games, you will need to spend times 10 or such money to even prepare. So that's why I didn't take it serious. So I want to really encourage our people, that all other states, but don't forget the visa to our games village. You must show that we must verify that you have been inoculated, and you must do your PCR test.
Okay.
That is, yes. And for hosting and winning, we are still determined to host and win, but win clean.
Okay.
We are not just hosting to win, but we are hosting to win clean. Okay. So, and we know our rival, our junior brother, Delta State, are training. And we are going to treat them like our younger brother, take care of them very well when they come. And they will respect Edo, and definitely concede the first position to Edo.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your time on the show. Hopefully, when next we have a conversation, it will be to talk about how well things are going at the National Sports Festival.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And you guys are doing a great job. Please keep it up.
All right. Thank you very much. That's the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, and of course, he also doubles as the local organizing committee chairman. Kennedy, quick one before he said everything, all questions answered, everything resolved. I don't think there's anything to add.
Yeah, it was just perfect way to clear the air. Sometimes when you hear the stories flying around, you ask from, it's called the horse's mouth. Now, some things I had to jot down while he was talking. Number one, when we asked about the Abuja, moving to Abuja, he said, I spoke with the minister.
Emphatic
Where
enough.
else can you get, the rightful information than the Minister of Youth and Sports Development? Then he also talked about, the alert, which is a prerequisite, and he has not gotten it. But he actually put a lacuna that he knows the work going on, and in no time, probably in a matter of hours, that will happen. Then, talking about happening on Friday or starting on Friday, he said, if you check out the other dates, we did not install, the games equipment. Now we're doing that, which tells you that there is something of truth in everything happening. So I think he has cleared the air. And I say, well done, friend. As much as he's saying we're doing a great job, I'm saying you guys are also doing a great job.
All right, so it's two-way. It's two-way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's quickly move on. Let's also talk about the biggest sporting event globally. That's the Olympics. Let's quickly talk about the Olympics. Let's just tell you officially, 114 days to go to that event. A lot of things happening around the event. But the IOC president, International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, is saying that having this event shows that there is light at the end of the pandemic tunnel. Yeah. That's what he said, and I agree with him. Also, Godokman is waiting in the wings, but first let's listen to Thomas Bach, what he has to say Then, of course, we'll link up with Austin. He's been listening to that conversation. And, of course, he has a thing or two to say about the National Sports Festival and about the Olympics. But first, let's listen to the IOC president.
The Greeks have given to humanity this great gift of the Olympic Games, together with the other great gift, the gift of democracy. And here in this stadium, you can feel the spirit of both. The spirit of the Olympic values and the spirit of the inclusiveness of democracy.
That's it. Thomas back speaking there. All right, let's go to our man, Austin Okonakpan. He's been listening to everything, and he joins us now. Greetings to you, Austin. Thanks for being with us on the show. I said earlier, on the day the Super Eagles are playing, on the day the Super Eagles played, we'll still have a major sporting event that could get us talking and push the Super Eagles to the side for a few minutes. Is interesting. But thanks for joining us. Your take on all that you have heard about the National Sports Festival coming from the Aussie's mouth, and your take on the Olympics as well.
Sporty greetings, Yemi, to you and of course our viewers. With what you've mentioned, it's a confirmation that it is indeed an action-packed sort of sport. So much going on. We can't stop talking about the National Sports Festival. I think that's arguably one event that has got to the most mention when you talk about sports in Nigeria since last year March till date. It was heartwarming listening to the chairman of the local organizing committee, who also doubles as the deputy governor of Edo State, assuring states and athletes that the National Sports Festival will hold. But then again, he said they're expected to receive that alert. That credit alert, we do a lot, when they say it. But let's commend those states. They've always said they wanted to make this happen. So kudos to them for making it happen. I love the fact that they're also saying that whoever is coming to the state must ensure that they've received the vaccine. That's one step towards safety. You also said that they will not drop their focus on the guidelines and, of course, ensuring that they keep the people of Edo State safe. Very, very important, because now they have visitors at a time when we know that that the virus is still out there. So let's see how they'll handle that. So shout out to Edo State. There's some lights now. Thomas Bach talked about light at the end of the pandemic tunnel. For the National Sports Festival, we've seen a little bit of that light at the end of the tunnel. So let's wait to see it happen for real. Talking about the Olympics, what a story also. I was discussing with a friend and colleague with the BBC today, and I said that Japan will never, ever forgive COVID-19. When COVID-19 is done and everybody tries to get over it, Japan will never get over it. Just for that postponement, you may remember they lost $1 billion. You can't even start counting the losses. But we're glad that we're counting down to the Olympics. We're glad that it will still hold, even though it will go down in history as one of the drab Olympics ever, because I can't imagine an Olympics without the fans. It's painful, but it is what it is. These are the times we never wished for. But let's see if the Olympics holds. It's going to put a little bit of, not smile, maybe Japan will just take their hands off their cheek if they get to host it.
That's true. All right, good one there. All right, let's address the elephant in the room and talk about what happened today, the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So let's just talk about it. Nigeria against Lesotho, headed 3-0. It could have been more. It could have been more for the Super Eagles. Then, of course, Lesotho as well got a goal chopped off. Some felt it was a goal. But let me start with that. Did you think it was a goal first? Then, overall, the performance of the Super Eagles. 4 changes that I noticed. Uzor came in for Maduka. You had Tyrone Eboeyi, Etebo as well, and Iwobi. 4 changes that I noticed. I don't know if it was more, but I noticed that 4. So your take on the game and sports-like controversies. Do you think it was a goal? The Lesotho goal, do you think it was a goal?
It was a goal, Yemi. It was a goal. I looked at it over and over again, and it was a goal. You know, these are some of the things we're talking about. Human errors are bound to happen. You know, that's why we must, in situations like this, look back and say, thank you, VAR. Well done, VAR, because VAR would have easily, you know, corrected that error. Maybe from the angle where the center referee was, maybe he didn't see it after Francis Uzor, you know, paddled the ball away. But the assistant referee probably would have been in a good situation to either call a goal or not. But it is what it is. It wasn't called, so it has passed. The Super Eagles went on to win 3-0. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. All right. Kennedy, let me get your thoughts. I'll allow Austin think about the next few things he's going to say. Your thoughts are on the game and the changes.
Yeah.
I thought those guys who came in really acquitted themselves.
They gave a good account of themselves. We saw it about marshalling alongside Wilfred Ndidi in that midfield, which was the way we used to know it. And doing it with Wilfred, it's actually comforting to know, you know, futuristically, the midfield is almost sealed. Then you have the likes of Alexi Wobi, also of the midfield, and Tyrone Eboyi. Then for Uzor, I feel if Daniel Akpe is not the number one for me, if Uzor is the number one, the way he commands his area, the way he worked with Leon Balogun and William Trustekong, I think it was beautiful. At the point late in the game where there was almost, you know, a mix-up, I saw the way he screamed at, you know, the players. One thing he was telling them, hey, we want to keep a clean sheet here. And that is the command that a goalkeeper should have. So then, late on, like he did in the first game against the Benin Republic, talking about Iwala, he came in again, and really the young man is growing in confidence. We saw that he was able to keep the ball, try to do his own thing like he would do in the NPFL, and that is what we want to see going forward. I think the Super Eagles have very bright future. Just let's get this understanding going, and when they get to gel even more, understand each other more, then we'll be talking about even better days. Probably the AFCON will be, you know, in the raps. Then the World Cup, we'll be talking or singing a new song. Then for the goal you mentioned, I think from the angle I sat, I saw a little bit of not a goal. So different strokes and different folks.
We could go on and on and on and on talking about the Super Eagles. I guess we just leave that for tomorrow. We'll have more time. We'll take a look at X-ray, do the player ratings and a lot of things. But for now, let's move on. Let's talk about Sunshine Stars in the Nigerian Professional Football League and tell you the players and officials of the club taken to the streets to protest poor handling of the team by the Ondo State government. The protest grounded commercial activities in the state capital as the players and officials marched from the stadium to the governor's office to register their grievances. Of course, like I said, they took to the streets in Akure. But in a swift response, the governor of the state has set up a 3-member committee for the Ondo Football Agency. The governor of the state, Rotimi Akeredolu, has set up a 3-member committee for Ondo State Football Agency. And what this 3-man committee will do is to handle the football agency and take care of Sunshine Stars Football Club and Sunshine Queens. And hopefully we won't get to see things like this again. All right, so that story is our parting shot on the show tonight. Let me go to Austin quickly. A quick response from you. All too familiar story, but I like the swift response of the governor. Hopefully, all of these issues will be nipped in the bud.
Disappointing, I mean, absolutely disappointing. Sunshine Stars, traditional big team in Nigerian football. Now we see it clearly. It is what you sow, you reap. Sunshine Stars, they've gone 11 matches without a win. We didn't know that this was the issue. So let's even say well done to the players for even putting on that jersey, lace their boots and come out to play when they're being owed about 6 months' salaries and match bonuses. Let's just hope that the state government will step up and do better.
Okay. Austin, I want to thank you for your time on the show. Hopefully we'll get to do this again later in the week.
Always a delight, Yemi. Thank you so much.
All right, so that's our man, Austin Okona Akpan. And as we go, Kende Idris, you're on the same page with Austin?
You know, when I see stuffs like this, I now go thinking, what is happening to Sunshine Queens? This is the male team that is handled with all of their attention. Now the female team that almost always are abandoned. What is happening? It's so sad.
Okay.
And I hope someday, one day, we'll talk about our football and not talk about issues like this.
All right, so that's a good place to leave it tonight. Kehinde Idris, I want to thank you for your time.
It's always lovely.
On the show. This is hoping that all of these issues will be addressed.
Amen.
And also, as we go on to take our rest, let's enjoy the victory of the Super Eagles.
Exactly.
It's a long time coming.
It's nice.
All right, so that's the show today. We do hope that you've enjoyed everything we'll be able to bring to you. Tomorrow is another time. We'll take you on a trip across the money-spinning world of sports. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.